All right, what's up, YouTube world? All right, what's up, everybody? This is the Savage and Humble podcast. We are broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook Live, and this is episode number 2. We had to get some technical difficulties handled. So the YouTube camera may be a little under the current technology. As this
standard definition.
Yeah, this computer's a little old. As my phone camera looks a lot better, but it is what it is. So again, this is the Savage and Humble podcast. I am Savage, aka Anthony Gaines, Lord Savage,
and I am Humble, aka SOMEDOGG, Some Dog.
Oh man, Some Dog. And so to wrap up real quick, last week we broke down the caste system. Isabel Wilkerson did an excellent job of breaking down racism as a tool in our caste system in America. Today, we're going to talk about, we're going to start off with sports. So a few things happened. And then we're going to parallel into feminism.
Oh boy, here we go.
Holy shit. Yeah, we're about to step all into it. So please like, comment, and share. We want to get as many subscribers as soon as we can. And that way, obviously we'll be able to stream freely, whether it be by phone or computer. So that would be much appreciated. So please, if you're tuning in to Facebook Live, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. The link is in the description in the Facebook Live, and we need to get that going. We need to get to at least 90. I think we should be able to get that within a couple weeks, if not today. But we definitely want to get there as soon as we can. So let's jump into it. What's happening in the sports world? Well, first of all, one of the greatest icons in the NFL passed away, Jim Brown. Jim Brown played for the Cleveland Browns, and he was Heisman Trophy winner. Many regard him as the greatest running back of all time. Yeah. He still has the highest yards per carry average. I believe Walter Payton broke his all-time rushing record and touchdowns record, which then was, of course, broken by Emmitt Smith. Jim Brown was an activist, man. Jim Brown was a savage, yes. Not too humble. And, had a very epic career. I think he led the league in rushing every year. I want to say he had a 9-year career. And then he walked off and did a movie with Raquel Welch. And for those of you who don't know, she's extremely good-looking European woman. So I'm pretty sure he had a lot of fun doing that. But it's a shame, but he lived a full life. Yeah. He was an old man, and he passed away a few days ago. So condolences to the Brown family, and the NFL definitely has lost a legend.
Yes, it has.
So I guess we can pivot to these playoff games. I've already started a college fund because I've been losing money on these motherfucking Lakers.
They're done.
Oh man, yeah, stick a fork in them cats, man. Oh my goodness, dude.
Man, I was so disappointed. If LeBron comes on with a boot on his foot after he loses these Western Conference Finals, I'm done with him.
Oh yeah,
no excuses, man.
Yeah, man, we can't be having no excuses, man. Yeah. There ain't no excuse for an ass whooping. So, it just is what it is, man. The Denver Nuggets, they came out there and they just put it on them, man. Jump shot after jump shot. I still don't understand how the Lakers couldn't win by attacking the basket because they have zero rim protection. But that's just me. I don't know. But that's why I lost $300. So yeah. But I pay my bets. So damn. Yeah. Now we go to the other side. Jimmy Butler is
he's a savage.
He's a dog. He's a savage.
Yeah.
He is taking it to him. He is getting the Celtics, man. He's bringing it back to the old school, man.
Right.
He's that dominant two-guard,
two-way player,
man,
dominating on the defensive end and on the offensive end.
We ain't seen nothing like that since Kobe.
Right.
And I'm not saying he's Kobe.
Right. We ain't saying that. We ain't going. Don't take it there.
Yeah. Don't take it there, man. I'm not taking it there. But he's a dog, man.
Right.
And it's good to see that.
Right.
I man, because this generation ain't putting out too many dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll get into that later too.
Man. So there's a boxing match yesterday. Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. And I thought Devin Haney was gonna walk right through Lomachenko.
It didn't happen that way though, unfortunately.
No, it didn't happen that way. I still thought he won the fight. It was close. I thought Lomachenko might have been able to put him down in that 11th round.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole fight with you, but the rounds I saw looked like Lomachenko was ahead. And I was like, but I didn't watch the whole fight. But I was like, wait a minute, he's marching around him, he's controlling the range, he's tapping him up. Mm-hmm. I was like, I didn't really see, the other guy tapping up Lomachenko a whole lot. I saw Lomachenko tapping him up a lot. So I was like, well, I trust my brother though, and if he won, then he won. But it didn't seem like a win to me.
Yeah, well, so the first few rounds, Devin Haney definitely controlled with a little bit of the jab, but he was really getting him to the body, man. I mean, he was hitting him with some solid body shots with that right, man.
Trying to slow down that movement a little bit. Huh?
Absolutely. But I was disappointed in his lack of power.
Right. I seen both of them tap each other up, and nobody was really doing any damage.
You see Lomachenko's face after the fight; it was actually pretty destroyed.
Yeah, right.
But you would think that with those shots, somebody would have to drop, man.
Right.
And it didn't happen, but I got to give my due to Devin Haney. He did what he needed to do, and he got the W. So, kudos to him. Now, what's going to happen next? I don't know. Everyone knows him and Tank should be fighting. All right. So, I don't think that's going to go too well for him.
No.
Because if you let Tank tap you up half as much as Lomachenko tapped him up, man, Devin Haney's going to be taking a nap in the middle of the ring.
In the middle of the ring in the second round.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe, he might, learn some things from this fight and adjust. I mean, he got to where he got. I mean, you think he's 29-0. He's really young, 25 or something like that.
Yeah, but you can't teach power.
No, you cannot teach power. And Tank has all of that, plus defense and movement and counter punching.
And most importantly, patience.
Man, ultra patience and a chin.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to be a real, real bad matchup for Devin Haney.
Right.
So a lot of folks disagree with me though, but that's their opinion. We'll see. I'd put money on that fight. I'm putting my money on Tank.
Well, I don't gamble, so that's cool. But yeah.
I only gamble when I think I'm going to win.
No, well, you're going to win.
Pretty much, yeah. Except these freaking Lakers,
man. God.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, man, Melly Mel. Yeah. I just paid for his daughter's some new shoes or something. Man, yeah. So. I mean, that pretty much wraps it up in the sports world. We'll see if he ends up fighting Tank or Shakur Stevenson. That's really the only fights he has at 135.
Right.
And I don't see him winning either one of those. I'll just be frank. I think Shakur Stevenson would dominate him in a 12-round decision, and I think Tank would knock him out ferociously.
Right.
That's my Tank. If you disagree, please comment, and we can go back and forth on that. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about the history of feminism in the USA, and then we're going to jump into relationships. And oh yeah, that's funny, huh, Millie? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to come up and get some of that Korean barbecue, dog. Yeah, I'm gonna need to rub some of that on. So we're gonna talk about relationships. We're gonna talk about biology and nature of relationships. What's important to a man in a relationship, and cultural evolution and how it's affecting things for the good and the bad. So let's jump into this feminism. So let's see here. So there's two names that really jump out. Well, actually, no, there's actually a few more. So you have Susan B. Anthony. She was born in 1820, died in 1906. Then you have, let's see, it's also Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Now, they were actually advocates for a whole lot of things in regards to, I want to say, let's see here. So Susan B. Anthony became one of the most visible leaders of the women's suffrage movement, along with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. She traveled around the country delivering speeches in favor of the women's suffrage, and it looks like her work helped pave the way for the 19th Amendment in 1920, which I believe gave the women the right to vote. And she also toured the country in getting the 13th Amendment ratified, or getting petitions for the 13th Amendment.
Yeah.
So that, that's pretty big. Obviously, she's trying to help out, Africans who are enslaved here in this country. So big ups to her. She's a big, and I actually remember hearing about her in school. They didn't really talk too much about it, but
it's a little segment.
Yeah, it's real quick, but they didn't really say too much about Margaret Sanger, and she's the one who really kind of fought to get birth control legalized. And there's before, when we were kind of researching this, I kind of brought up the fact about they try to tie her to the eugenics movement, but that was really just a thing during that time period.
Right. A common belief in that time period.
So, and Martin Luther King was really a big fan of hers. He actually won the Margaret Sanger Award, and someone tried to bring up the eugenics stuff, and Martin Luther King was like, "Nah, she was a champion of justice."
Yeah,
and that's it. So we can just leave that be.
Right.
So let's see, 1879, fought to legalize birth control. Now the women's vote, that was June 4th, 1919. June 4th, 1919. So Congress passed, and then in 1920, August 18th, it was ratified.
Right.
Okay, so that means European women were able to vote.
Yes.
All right, that's it. Just European women. So European men and European women were able to vote in 1920. And obviously it was just European men before that.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to fast forward here. Obviously, I think everyone knows about women working during World War II.
Harriet Tubman, all the different other icons.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Lucy Stone, Lucretia Mott. These are other female pioneers in the feminist movement. Harriet Tubman, and then you can also Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm pretty sure I'm missing a lot of others.
Yeah.
And if I am, and there's someone that I'm missing, go ahead and drop them in the comments so I can learn something, and so can somebody else.
Yeah.
We're gonna jump a little back, 1848, Married Women's Property Act. So before this, women were pretty much property, and actually, really, even after this, they were considered the man's property.
Right.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
There's really no way to sugarcoat that. So after 1848, the Married Women's Property Act was passed, not liable for husband's debts. They could enter into contracts of their own, collect rent or receive inheritance, and file lawsuits on their own behalf.
Correct.
Okay. Now, obviously, African women were not able to vote until the Civil Rights Movement, right? The Civil Rights Act.
60s, yeah.
So 1965,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So that's when African women in the America were able to vote. Now, does that cover natives as well?
Well, in 1965, they were not really necessarily just able to vote. It was a battle against the powers that be against voting that was already accessible. So they had the rules and the unfair rules and people trying to stop you from voting, making up excuses. That was all ratified in 1965. That's when the Voting Rights Bill came into effect. Before that, we were able to vote, but they made rules so that we couldn't vote. The counting the beans or bubble gum. Guess how many bubble gum balls in a jar or things like that. Just ridiculous stuff to keep us from voting.
Wow.
That was battled all throughout from 1900 to 1965. In 1965, the Civil Rights Bill passed and the Voting Rights Bill passed, and we were able to vote more freely with early voting and voting on the weekends and voting after 5 p.m.
Voting after 5 p.m. Holy shit. So just to give you a quick reminder, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is in the comments. We need to get our subscribers up so we can become official. So now we got some kind of disturbing stuff to go over. And there's really no way around it. So in 1974, we have Barnes versus, I think, Train. If I'm messing the name up, let me know. U.S. Court of Appeals finds she was mistreated. So that was like the first sexual harassment case that was seen in U.S. courts. And that's 1974.
That's correct.
All right. So just to do a quick sidebar, to kind of show what women were dealing with up until this point, and actually also after into the 80s. Because like we say, policy does not change culture.
That's correct.
All right. So even though these policies were in place, it doesn't mean the culture had caught up to the policy.
Right. So when you have a law that's passed, doesn't mean that just solves the issue, because the culture is still there. I mean, the same thing is parallel when it comes to the women being recognized as not property in the 40s, 1840s. Also, there was the same thing in Europe. They were recognized as not property, and humans were not recognized as not property in the 1840s. And then, African American, African men, African women, but in the 1860s later on. Same thing happened in 1965 when it comes to African American or African men and African women. Same thing happened to them. What he's talking about, 1977, 74.
74.
Right. So the civil rights movement and the women's rights movement are parallel in all aspects.
So I have a couple of personal experiences, not my personal experiences, obviously, because I'm not a woman, but so I have an acting coach who was in the military in the 60s. And she still is a very good writer. And she had a job, I believe, with Cairo News, and they would only pay her half what they paid the men. All right. And this was in the late mid 60s, I believe. She didn't have this much of an issue in the military because I believe Truman passed a presidential order something where there was essentially equality in the military, where African citizens were supposed to be equal, and women.
Pay equity, treatment equity, all of that in the late 60s. Truman passed an executive order.
Yeah. So now this is kind of interesting because this is where you have a policy that has teeth. And what I mean by that is if there was any mention of mistreatment in the military because of someone's culture or sex, you were going to get dealt with immediately.
Right.
Okay. So that's kind of where one instance where culture, the policy trumped the culture because no one wanted to lose their job.
Right. And in the military, because it's not a democracy within the military, it's a little bit easier to trump culture in that situation, but they still have their problems. You know, there's women are just now getting hurt when it comes to rape and things of that nature in the military. So we don't want to say it always works, but it works a little bit better in that setting.
No, absolutely not. So then I also spoke to somebody at work, and he brought up about how men used to masturbate under tables when women would walk in the room.
Oh shit!
I mean, that's that's pretty fucking vile. Oof. Excuse my French. And that happened to his mom. And she walked in the office, and the dude was like, "Guess what I'm doing underneath the table?" And she turned around and left. So I was like, "Man, that's
unbelievably disgusting."
Yeah, And there's some other things that are going to be pretty hard to chew on as I continue. 1980, the EEOC determined sexual harassment was a form of discrimination.
Right.
That's 1980. So that was within my lifetime, within most of your lifetimes, definitely within the lifetime of any of our parents and grandparents.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, 1993, spousal rape was illegal finally in all 50 states. So I'm going to say that again. 1993, spousal rape was illegal in all 50 states. That is very hard to chew on.
Yes. That means it was legal for you to be a husband and wife, for that husband to rape his wife and not go to jail. Wow.
Just chew on that for a second. That's a rough one. I was a freshman in high school at that time.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty disturbing. 2010, sex discrimination was not outlawed until this time.
That means the culture didn't need to check in with the policy. There was no policy. It was widespread, practiced all the time. It was normalized, to insult a woman or to grope her or to make insensitive remarks, to insult, to class, to discriminate against. All these things were normalized, especially in the workplace.
That's pretty hard to chew on, man. 2010, I was done with college.
That was around the time where we first started competing and modeling and competitions and stuff.
Yeah, I think Amina was born a year after that. Yeah, I mean, that's 13 years ago. So essentially, there has definitely been oppression for our sisters on the other side of the gender pole here. Right. And there's really no other way to say that, man. Like,
yeah, it's been hard. It's been difficult. But with that difficulty comes some senses of freedom and some senses of a pendulum swinging the right direction.
Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. Obviously, I really don't have any confirmation bias on this. I'm a man. Uh, so, for all you ladies who are going to be tuning in, please comment and let us know uh, if the culture is catching up with the policy. I know for me that, I actually have one woman on my crew. I'm an electrician, local 46 electrician. I have one woman on our crew, and I think we got a crew of about maybe 15. I would usually have 1 to 2 women in my classes when I was doing my apprenticeship. Sometimes it would be 0. Sometimes it'd be 1. Sometimes it would be 2. So, and I don't know what the workforce is looking like outside of that. Obviously, mostly women are doing a lot of administration jobs. They are dominating universities right now. Um, and I don't know how much they're really getting into STEM jobs. I know my son's mom is a psychologist. I know his aunt on that side is a lawyer. Um, Auntie Deidre was a vice president, and that was our aunt. So there is some personal experiences of women being successful. I know my bonus moms were making pretty good money. Um, uh, so, but I definitely don't have any personal experience on the matter. It was disturbing finding out. I mean, 1993. Yeah, that's rough, man.
Yeah.
I,
That's when it's, oh, by the way, it's not legal for you to rape your wife anymore. That's tough, man. That's
yeah.
tough. Ooh,
I mean, that's pretty hard to chew on.
yeah.
Yeah. Oof. So, I mean, there's an obvious timeline of oppression here, and the policies didn't catch up till 2010. I mean, maybe they're not even caught up now.
They're not. I mean, there's a long way to go.
You know.
But that's in every situation when it comes to women's rights, minority rights. It's across the board. We need to do more, but we need to change culture more than just policy.
Indeed. So now we kind of have to take a pivot here. We've broke down I mean, this is a very summarized version of feminism in America. There's definitely lots of examples of matriarchal societies that are usually Aboriginal.
Yeah.
Especially here in the Americas. You have examples of female pharaohs throughout history. I believe there were 6. No, I think there was 8. You had Joan of Arc,
right?
Who was burned at the stake. What else here? I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm missing a lot. But women have been oppressed, man.
Right. And we wanted to make that abundantly clear and show our appreciation, our respect. And just to let everybody know that before we pivot and get into other subjects.
So we're going to pivot into relationships. And the reason why I felt this would be an important conversation to have, I've been digesting a lot of red pill stuff, and it's been interesting. All right. I don't agree with all of it. I agree with some of it. As you guys know, I'm I don't really like conservatives or liberals. I obviously don't like conservatives with their their staunch casteism, through racism. And I kind of don't like liberals for their how Malcolm X described them as their fox to the conservatives' wolves hunting strategy. But as far as relationships are concerned, there's a shift happening. And as you know, I'm back in the dating pool. You definitely see it. So we really want to talk about that. Obviously, we can revert to, the biology and nature aspect of it. In nature, the stronger gender is always the dominant one.
Right.
All right. Whether it's a lion who's dominant over the female lion, whether it's the hyena, the female hyena, who's dominant over the male hyena. All right. Most spiders are matriarchal, right? The right. Females are bigger.
Yes.
And they actually eat the male after they impregnate them.
Yes.
Right. Which is what Queen Amina did. She was a general in Africa. All right. A conqueror, dominated that Western Africa area.
Yes.
And when she conquered a land, she would pick a male, mate with him, and then cut his head off the next day. Now this is obviously an extreme case here. Most women don't do this.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Well, I'm pretty sure they kind of would feel like it sometimes.
Right.
But that's normally, relationships tend to follow this model.
Right.
And things are changing.
Yeah. Culture is evolving faster than our physical makeup is evolving.
Yeah. So what are we talking? That's cultural evolution.
Right.
So cultural evolution is why we are the dominant species on this planet. There are 95% of most animals would destroy us head up in a fight.
Correct.
Even chimpanzees. You think, oh, it's a little cute. Michael Jackson used to have a pet chimpanzee. Well, he had to bottle him up once he reached a certain age because a chimpanzee can tear a full-grown man's arm off.
No problem.
So, yeah, we culturally adapt. So instead of waiting thousands of years to grow fur to stay warm, we go kill something else and put on a jacket.
Correct.
All right. Or we make tools to make things easier to kill things. Guns.
Weapons.
All right. That's kind of what separates us from everyone else. So these are the benefits of cultural evolution. But now we kind of need to talk about the downside of this, where the pendulum swings too far.
Right.
And there's really no easy way to ease into this conversation.
Yeah.
There really isn't. So I posted a question on Facebook, and the question was, what's most important to a man in a relationship? Respect or loyalty? Most of the women responded with loyalty, but in the same breath would say there is no respect without loyalty. Well, you said it. The most important thing to a man in a relationship is respect.
That's correct.
It's not even close. If there's no respect, there's no relationship.
That's correct.
Okay, now let's talk about respect. So earlier when we were kind of going over the, how we were going to handle the show, and, I'm kind of trying to get on the same page with my brother, right? And I was like, so, we're going over this respect thing. And essentially, there seems to be a very much lack of respect for men amongst women. That's kind of the pendulum I'm seeing going too far with feminism. And why is this a mistake? Okay. So, and then I made the analogy, I was like, well, actually, you brought it up.
Mm.
You said, if I was in a relationship with a silverback gorilla, I'd be his bitch. Yeah, there's nothing we can do with that.
No choice.
Yeah, whatever you say goes, man. Yeah. What do you want me to do? You can rip my head off at any time.
Yeah.
So, and then I was like, well, but you've never fought a silverback gorilla, E, have you?
Never have.
No, but you respect his strength.
Right. It becomes automatic.
And I kind of feel like there's a delusion right now amongst the new age of women that there's a lack of respect for a man's strength.
Correct.
And why is this important? Well, cultural evolution is kind of getting us into a place where we're so safe that we forget the carnage that men, the havoc that men have on this world, or even against women.
Right.
So what do I mean by that? Well, when I'm dealing with other men, okay, there's a level of respect that I have for them, because if I get out of line, whether or not I feel I can beat them up or not, I know there's going to be a confrontation.
Correct.
All right. And that's just really no way around that. Like, if I disrespect another dude, whether it's my brother or some cat down the street, if they're from my generation, there's going to be a level of accountability. All right. Whether I can beat them up or not.
Right. There's limits.
Okay. And there seems to be that's being lost,
right,
amongst women right now. Now, what am I saying here? Am I saying, oh, we need to go start beating women up? No, that's not what I'm saying. In fact, I'm not even saying that at all. But there needs to be a respect. So let's say, like a good example, I posted, about how the Ukraine's at war right now. And all the women got to go to Stockholm or Great Britain, while the men...
Some of them even came here.
Yeah. While the men had to stay and fight and get massacred by the Russians.
Chew on that for a second.
So the women got to go to Stockholm, Great Britain, here, or whatever, you're seeing them on, I see Ukrainian women on the dating profiles. All right. While their men are at war, getting slaughtered. Now, where's the privilege in that? Now, I understand this is a hard conversation, but it's just really perspective. So what is that? What are you trying to say, Anthony? Okay, well, if that were to happen here, all that feminism, racism, sexism, all that's gone.
Yes.
All of that is gone. We are going to revert immediately to the nature, to the gender roles of nature. All right. I'm going to go get my kids and nothing is going to stop me. All right. We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Correct.
And, that is the reality of that situation. So where am I going with this? Well, respect is the most important thing to a man in a relationship.
Right.
All right. That's our currency.
That's correct.
When you disrespect a man, there is no relationship there.
Right.
It's over. All right. Just how a woman's currency is attention and usually loyalty. All right. Our currency is respect.
Right.
And the pendulum of feminism is taking away that respect.
Correct.
It's going too far. So in essence, this needs to be addressed.
Correct. Now that's not to excuse our behavior. Okay. Because we have a dog to fight in this situation also.
Yes, we do.
I'm I'm gonna address it this way. Almost 100% of my relationships, I saw that women. I noticed that women were feminine and submissive up until I stopped hitting it, or
Having sex.
yeah, or either started messing with other women. Then it changed, which means that their feminism and their submissiveness was conditional. And it wasn't like that a couple of generations ago. Meaning, yes, I've done wrong. Yes, I see the correlation with that, but at the same time, your submissiveness or your feminineness, femininity, shouldn't depend on what I do. It doesn't matter what I do. You should be that regardless. Okay. Now, if you're tired of being that for me, then we go our separate ways.
And go do that with somebody else.
Exactly. Because the problem with our relationships nowadays is that once that happens, we're still staying together. We're still dealing with each other. And that's where the toxic stuff comes in, because that you start disrespecting, which is most important to us, and we stop giving you attention, which is most important to you.
So, that's why we really wanted to sit down and have this conversation. And, a lot of people don't want to touch it because they don't want to get canceled. Well, I work in construction, so I don't give a fuck. Yeah. So, I'm not worried about that at all. But, there's definitely something going on, right? And, it's okay for women to have high expectations, all right, from a man. I mean, that's pretty usual, Most women want someone tall, good looking, in shape, makes good money.
Right.
And that's fine. All right. But then there's also the other side to that.
That's correct.
Okay. And, my brother spoke about his relationships, and, I'll speak about mine.
Right.
So it's kind of mirroring that,
right.
It's pretty much the same thing. It was all gravy, until the attention drops, which, obviously is mostly sex, right? And then the femininity goes out the window. And so did the respect, except in one relationship. All right. I'm not going to say her name, but at no time, and let me back up too. It's not just also, it's respect and peace.
Right.
Okay. If there's respect and peace, that is a happy man. Period. If you respect him and maintain the peace, he is happy. That is the one relationship where I never lost attraction to a woman, because the respect and peace never waned. Not one time did it drop, ever. Now, I didn't really realize what I had at the time. Then I had more experiences where I actually had relationships and wasn't just, running through a bunch of women, where that respect and peace was very attached to my me being
Attracted.
Okay, and me giving them attention.
Yes. So it goes hand in hand. You have to understand that the attraction that you like, the attention that you like, is directly linked to respect. Once you stop showing that, then the attention goes away.
Yeah, really the relationship's over. Because, that's the man's currency. If you don't respect your man, it's over.
And if you can't see yourself respecting that man or keeping up that image or that style or those actions, then you need to get away from that man.
Fast. Like, yeah. And go ahead.
Because it becomes toxic after that. Because both of you, start practicing and start having habits that are detrimental to each person, and it keeps going the different directions forever. Just keep going. Now you can turn it around, but it's hard.
I don't know. I probably disagree, man. Like once, I mean, I guess nothing's impossible.
Right, right.
But I found that yeah, when that respect is gone, man, I mean, it's over, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it yet where it's been turned around. I just assume that it's a possibility because people have had marriage counseling and gone along, and people have had couples counseling and stuff like that, and people have gone through it and made it work. So I assume that it's possible, but I haven't experienced it yet, and you haven't experienced it yet. So
No.
It's unlikely.
Yeah, extremely. But and it's interesting because I would say most women don't know that.
They feel it, but they don't. I think it's subconscious. But there are priorities in a relationship. So by the time that comes along, where you're start going the opposite direction, you might be married already. Then kids become priority, property. The relationship as an institution becomes more important than you guys going your separate ways. When you guys know you should go your separate ways, mentally and emotionally. You might not go your separate ways for other priorities, and then keeping the relationship, and then that's when it comes in abuse. When it comes to men or women, mental, emotional, or physical abuse. When it comes to men or women, comes into play once you stay together too long. But yeah, unfortunately, that's how it usually works. The reason why people stay together after they've already figured out, well, this is toxic. We're going the wrong direction here. They prioritize other things, usually kids.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, this isn't a one-sided thing. As a man, you have to, hold up your end of the bargain as well.
Correct.
All right. So, and this really needs to be communicated before anything even starts, actually, because once you start conceding, your respect is going to start dwindling as well.
Mm-hmm. Going out the window.
So, you need to come into it with a set of boundaries or whatever you want to call it. And you have to stick to that.
Right.
And you can't wane through emotional responses, or her feelings. Your boundaries are going to be your boundaries, man.
That's correct.
And you have to hold steadfast to that regardless of how crazy they get.
Yes.
So you have to hold up your end of the bargain. You got to go hit the weights. You got to stay in shape. You got to get some bread. You got to make some money.
And the decisions you make have to be good for the entire unit, whether it be you and her or the entire family. There's no dictators here. Every decision that you make has to be of sound mind and of sound decision. You can't tell your wife to go kill herself or to kill the kids or any of that crazy crap.
No.
You've got to be able to have sound decisions and of sound mind, and always have the mind to always do the right thing. And if she has a better idea, then we'll go with her idea. Because it's not who says it, it's what it is. It's not who it is, it's what it is.
Yeah, it's not about who's right, it's what's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I just really thought this would be an interesting topic, man. Because a lot of things needed to be said. So to really sum everything up, for the ladies, your man's respect is number one.
Correct.
You have to respect your man.
That's correct.
If you don't respect him, or if you have issues respecting men, I mean, that's a whole nother. We probably talk about that too.
Yeah.
Because we all come in with issues,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, oh yeah,
Oh,
single
man.
mother homes.
Oh man, here we go.
Yeah. So essentially, we have a lot. So most prisons are made up of men from single mother homes. I think it's around 75 to 80%.
Right.
Please feel free to fact check what I'm saying. And I notice I'll just go off of my personal experiences. We already talked about this, E.
Mm-hmm.
Your generation was really hit hard by gangs and drugs. And most of all your friends who did not have a father were gang members.
And in jail. Or either drug dealers or either doing drugs. But at the same time, which is probably, let's say, 1% or 2 or 10% or whatever the percentages is of our total makeup of all of us African descent. But at the same time, the other side of that is that most of our greatest athletes are single mother owns too. So like LeBron James and other athletes like him are also
Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders are single mother homes. So the dynamic is that 1% is on the bottom and 1% is on the top. And then the dual parent homes make up the middle. Our doctors, our lawyers, our guys our high quality men making 5-6 figures. The mass of successful men are 2 parent homes.
So essentially you have extremes on both ends.
Right. When it comes to single parent, single mother.
And, essentially what we're really going to get to here is that when the father is not there, there's a lack of discipline. All right. There's a lack of being able to focus.
Lack of accountability too.
Lack of accountability. All right. If the dad isn't there, usually you live in a world of delusion.
Yes.
All right. So what does that mean? Well, when you grow up with your mom, there tends to be this thing where it's all about, doing your best and hoping for the best. But your dad is going to be a realist.
Right. There's a kind of a support to you die type of mentality when it comes to your mother. And there's a kind of realism like, boy, you need to get out and work when it comes to your father.
Exactamundo. And then, we already talked about this earlier when we were going over what we were going to talk about. So when in Africa, when elephants, that they poach the male elephants for their tusk, well, they kill the male elephants. So now you're killing the fathers of those calves. Now, when those calves grow up and become teenagers, they start causing trouble.
And getting rebellious.
And getting extremely rebellious because their mothers cannot control them.
That's correct.
All right. So when a man is becoming, anywhere from 7th grade on, his mother can no longer check him. Period. He is physically stronger than her. All right. She goes to spank him and he's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not even feeling this. Is this a joke?
Right.
Now, let a dad be there. Okay. And that's going to be a completely different matter.
That's correct. I remember experiencing that myself.
Oh, man. Snatched up and chokeslammed. All right. Oh, okay. I'm not going to do that.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Okay.
The reason why I am not in a gang is because I was hanging with the gang members. We grew up together. And my dad came down to the corner where I was hanging and picked me up off the ground and chokeslammed me in front of all my homeboys and looked at them crazy like, "Did you want some too?" And I got my ass in the car and I never went down there again.
That's pretty cause and effect, man. You know, and everyone talks about child abuse being a bad thing, but man,
No, that's not child abuse.
that's just discipline, man.
That's the discipline.
You know, and you know that is needed.
Yes.
Okay, like because if it's not there, then you're just gonna be running around unchecked,
Right.
doing stupid shit.
Plus, that earned respect of all my homeboys growing up, and they all was like, "Oh my God, your dad is not playing around. He's like, he's really serious about you not doing any drugs or selling any drugs or being a part of a gang." You know, because that's all they know. All they knew was violence and gangs and drugs, and they was like, man, he believes in some order and he wants you to do right. You know, so they took it the right way.
And you know, our dad was pretty much the dad of the whole damn neighborhood.
That's correct. Because of that. Like the Lawrence Fishburne in, was it Boys in the Hood?
Yeah.
Exactly like Lawrence Fishburne in Boys in the Hood.
You know, except this is a little different. You know, he was more of a mechanic and fixing bikes, and you know, we gathered all the kids and we would go on bike rides, and everyone, there was a level of respect for my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, here goes that word respect again. Interesting. And you know what? It's because he had to come down there and show strength.
That's correct. That's right. Once they knew, see, I was respected in the neighborhood. You know, I was a good fighter, martial arts. And once they seen him do that to me, they were like, wait a minute, we can't kick his ass. So we definitely can't kick his ass.
It sets the tone.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, we're not fucking with big dog. Period. So, you know, that's the importance of a dad in a home. All right. Now, also, it's not just that, though. It's even being able to be around other masculine men, to take criticism from masculine men.
Being able to take orders from masculine men. We're talking about our sons now.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you're not there, it's gonna, it really emasculates them.
That's correct.
All right. I see it in examples where, you know, my friends didn't have dads. And I even saw it in myself when I was away from my dad for a period. And then, you know, I kind of got caught up real fast. You know, I think I came back, I was around 14 or 15 or something. Yeah. You know, and I had to take a crash course in accountability, discipline, and all kinds of things, man. And yeah, it really changed me immediately. I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, dads are very vital.
Right.
All right. And not having a dad in the house is really a detriment to your children, whether it's a man, whether it's a boy or a girl.
Right.
You know, it really instills confidence, and, you know, you're able to be accountable and hold others accountable.
Yeah. It's also a domino effect. So the father talks to the older brother talks to the younger brother, or what the dad was trying to communicate. Because sometimes the younger brother and the dad didn't have the best
relationship, or the dad was getting a little long in the tooth.
That's correct.
So the older brother had to hold the younger brother accountable. You know what I mean? And I was very well aware of that. You know, my older brother was very, you know, he would let me get away with stuff, but, you know, there was a fine line there.
Right.
And I knew if I crossed that fine line, it would be very similar to that scene on the corner, you know. Yeah. So there's, you know, having this level of accountability, it is really paramount for that structure growing up. You know, and that also leads to daughters.
Yes.
You know, if a daughter doesn't have a dad, there's a lack of confidence. They're going to look for love in other men. And it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, because they're going to prioritize love over everything else, even if they see red flags. And like, well, he loves me. Well, he's beating your ass. Well, no, he loves me. Well, no, he's cheating. Well, he loves me. Well, he's doing this and he's doing that. Everything negative. Well, he loves me. And then love becomes the priority because she didn't see love with her father.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really a big time domino effect. And the one thing I can say is that this there's a idea that us fathers of African descent are bad fathers. Well, that's wrong. We're actually the best fathers.
That's backed up by statistics.
So yeah, you can definitely go look that up. But I'll just use my personal example. I got to say, almost all my homeboys are involved in their daughters' lives.
One more time. Can you repeat that?
All of my homeboys are involved in their kids' lives. All right. Now, some more than others, right? But I can't really even think of any of my friends who are just abandoning their kids like they say we do. Now, granted, we're all not perfect. Okay, obviously the first kid, you're kind of trying to figure stuff out. And the second kid, you get a lot better. Right. But I have to say I'm proud of all y'all. You guys are present. And a lot of you guys are doing better than me because you're actually still with their moms. And that's probably the ultimate right there. Right. But sometimes that's not going to work out.
That's correct.
Right. And a lot of that is a result of where I didn't have a certain parent around, which caused issues with me. And that was probably the same issue with any woman I dealt with that I had children with.
Right. Because we do have issues outside of our relationships, whether we grew up with single parent homes. So we bring issues into a relationship just like they might bring issues to a relationship other than just the relationship.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's definitely something that doesn't get addressed enough. And, but, you just got to talk to each other and figure that out. But, in essence, we really want to say, masculinity is divine and godly. It is important.
Yes.
And unfortunately, cultural evolution is kind of taking us away from that.
Correct. Recognizing our masculinity.
Yeah. So what do I mean by that? So I spoke about cultural evolution earlier. All right. That's what makes us the dominant species on this planet. We culturally dominate. We culturally evolve with our minds and fix a problem or any issues. Okay. You make a tool, you make a trap, you make a coat, all these things. Well, but it also makes life easier.
Correct. It allows you to forget how life could be.
How dangerous things are.
Correct.
And a man's first job is protection.
Correct.
All right. We're there to protect our women, our family from other men and other dangers.
Correct.
Well, now that's not really an issue.
Right.
You don't really have to protect them from really anything, maybe every once in a while, and that gets lost.
Yeah, it's like having a security guard and he never ever has an emergency. So why do you need that security guard?
Man, we're paying this guy for nothing.
He's sitting around all day, he ain't doing nothing. But until there's a fire or there's a active shooter on site, and then he saves everybody's life, then everybody's like, "Oh, we needed that."
Yeah.
Or there's a flood, and if he's not there to stop that flood, it costs you $10 million to rebuild your building. Well, we need that guy there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so that natural order of things, it needs to be respected. That man is important. Just because it's all safe and there's no war, no one broke into your house, well, if they do, that man is going to get up and defend his family
before the police get there. You say, police this, police that. Well, the police aren't there already. Your man is in the bed with you already, ready to defend you right then and there, and your kids.
But that gets lost because you don't really need to do that too much these days.
Right.
And, obviously, our society is very technology based. Everyone's playing video games. I mean, I used to be a idiot. I grew up when Nintendo came out. So, I mean, yeah, I was getting it in and grew up through all the PlayStation, Xbox, Dreamcast, all that stuff.
Right.
But we were still outside.
Mm-hmm.
We were still running around, scratching our knees, having fights, just doing normal things as a kid.
Right. Normal kid activities.
And, you get toughened by this. So I made a post about grip strength. Okay. So what does that mean? That means when there's a device you can grab and squeeze it and it measures your grip strength. Well, the grip strength average used to be about 120 pounds. All right. Now, I recently got my grip strength tested because I go to the chiropractor often to get grassing on my forearms. And my grip strength was 150 pounds. And I'm pretty sure yours would be around 155, probably 160, something like that.
Well, not now, but yeah, in really good shape. You're probably right
there. And, anyone who's like bigger, you're probably in the 160 to 165 range.
Right.
Maybe 170.
Right.
Well, the average grip strength right now is 98 pounds.
Man, that is telling. That's a lot of strength lost.
Yeah, that's a weakling. You're weak.
Hey, I mean, hey, that's the truth.
Yeah, there's no sugarcoating it.
Right.
You are a weakling. So essentially, this lack of masculinity is creating a bunch of weak men.
Yes.
And that's not okay.
That isn't.
Men need to be strong.
That's correct.
Period.
I've seen this in youth, not excluding my son, where strength is not the priority. It's not even close. It's money. It's clothes. Then when we was growing up, we wanted to be strong like my dad. We wanted to be in great shape, or with him, it was he wanted to be strong like me or in great shape.
Well, no, even then, like, because I was around when I was pretty young with Dad.
Yeah, okay.
Because I remember, when I was young, that's when Dad was buff.
Yeah. 275-pound bench press.
Moving engines.
Right. Picking up transmissions by himself.
I mean, and then when I start tripping, he hit you with them fingers, and it felt like his fingers went through my spine. You know what I mean? Like
Vulcan grip.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I remember all that, man.
Okay. So you had a little bit of that
yourself. Oh gosh. Yeah, I remember that, man. Absolutely. But yeah, and then you want to emulate that.
Right.
But now things are changing. Everyone's on the computer. All those things we used to do in real life, now you do on a computer.
Right.
Okay. So things are a lot different now.
Also, I'm glad you picked up on masculinity and stuff like that, because I think also the reason why our youth is not like that as far as our young men is because you just talked about it. Women don't respect that anymore. So why be that? Why be buff, masculine, strong if women go, that doesn't mean anything to me anyway. So it takes it out of you. Like, okay, if that doesn't mean anything, then I'm not going to be that. Unfortunately. I'm glad we brought that up because I didn't even think about that.
Oh man, I mean, that's paramount, man. Like, because it's really evident now because I see, my son copies everything I do, man.
Yeah.
And oh man, so I had to check that. So now. I had to get him his own little weights. So when he sees us doing some curls, he grabs it and starts doing curls and starts doing that, and he wants to go outside. Oh, what's up, T-Bazy? Yeah, man. So, oh man, that's another good example of a good father right there.
That's right.
Yeah, he's doing his thing, man. Shout out to T-Bazy.
Right.
And so, your kids are gonna watch you.
Right.
And they're gonna copy what you're doing.
Right.
So, I try to make it a point now, You know, my son, I mean, I can see he's going to be a little baller because all he wants to do is go outside and copy everything I'm doing. So,
and wrestle with Uncle Dog.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah.
He's not playing around.
Yeah, no, not at all. So, you know, masculinity is divine and godly. And when you remove that, you're causing problems.
Yes.
Big time.
Right. You're going against nature.
Oh, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. I'm glad you were there to listen and pass it on. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, it's important.
Yes.
You know, respect, masculinity, strength.
Mm-hmm.
These things are not toxic. No, they are divine and godly. Period. All right. That's it. Period.
Right.
It is vital to the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And if you take it out, it creates big problems.
Creates a vacuum.
Man, big problems. It creates criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Criminals. Yeah, Savage for life. What is it? Come visit. Yeah, right, you already know.
That's right. That's what's up.
Man, it's so we definitely wanted to have this conversation and air it out.
Right.
And hopefully, you know, you can tune in to the whole podcast from beginning to end because we covered feminism, the oppression that women faced and still face. All right. But then we pivoted into how this toxic masculinity over pendulum swinging of feminism is killing masculinity in men. Yeah. And we need to stop that shit right now.
It's destroying families. It's destroying relationships. It's causing a tremendous imbalance that we have to try to correct. This is the whole reason why we're on, is to help people understand what's really going on out here, to educate people so they can make their minds up, so they can correct courses. Just in case they can relate to us.
Man. And, you know, it's just really about, you know, just changing people's lives. You know, if I can reach one person, you know, that's great. But if I can reach more than that, then that's going to be fabulous, man. Right. So I think that's about it, man.
Yeah, that's about it, man.
I didn't think we was going to be able to cover all that quickly. We're getting a little bit better here.
You did a great job, bro.
Yeah, well, you too, man. So I think that's about it. So let's wrap this up here. So rest in peace to the great Jim Brown.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your contributions on the football field and off. Webb said you sitting like Stevie Wonder.
That's Webb.
Yeah. You know, rest in peace to the great Jim Brown. Like Tupac said, you know, we gotta love our women. Right. We gotta love our women. They've been oppressed for a long time, and we must respect masculinity. It is godly. No, excuse me. It is divine and godly. I think that's it.
That's it.
Well, you guys have a good day. I got to go get me some food and continue this being masculine.
He's savage.
And he's humble. And that's a wrap.
Oh man. Webb. Webb's Leo too, right? Yeah. Webb. Jason's homeboy.
Yeah.
The golf dude.
Yeah.
He's Leo.
Oh, is he Leo? Okay.
I should have said, "What's up, Leo?"